What's up? Today we are talking about Satoshi, Epstein, Zionists, Bitcoin, who created Bitcoin. So let's start. First of all, again, I wrote this piece in my Patreon. You can go and read it yourself or just listen to this video. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? So, everybody at this point in time, you all know that Bitcoin was created by a mysterious developer, called Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, nobody knows who Satoshi is, but a lot of people, oftentimes scammers, come out and say, oh, I am Satoshi, no, I am Satoshi. So the latest scam is Epstein was Satoshi, and that's, to be honest, the most retard scam ever. And I don't mean to offend anybody with this word. I just literally say that because this is the evidence people bring when they say that Epstein was the creator. And it's a fake email, guys. This email is fake, okay? This email is fake. Fact check, no email. This email is fake. So let's just move on, okay? What is more interesting here is that, many investigative journalists try to kind of uncover Satoshi's real identity, but nobody ever got full proof of any claim. Somebody says the CIA or the NSA. There's no proof of that either. There is proof that the FBI shut down and arrested several people trying to develop something similar to Bitcoin before Bitcoin was created. And my personal opinion is that I'm using this opinion, the opinion of John McAfee. He said before being suicided in a jail in Barcelona, he said that it was a group of 11 people, 11 cyberpunk, 11 developers that were funded by kind of a benevolent rich guy. And I have no proof of that, so I could be wrong. It could still be just one lonely guy, one hero, one man operation. Who knows? I think it's more likely that it was a multiple people operation, and then just one guy wrote the paper with the name Satoshi Nakamoto. But I have no proof. I have no definitive proof. Nobody has. But here is a list of basically the most, let's say, quoted candidates of being Satoshi. We have Szabo, an American, still alive, and it maybe could be him, but probably not alone, because of many reasons. But this is Szabo, and you should go and follow him because he's a really good guy. He's posting a lot of good stuff, for freedom and against the Zionist regime. A lot of very interesting stuff. Like, check this out: Bitcoin sent over national border without internet or satellite, just nature's ionosphere. So people say we need internet for Bitcoins. Not really true. Anyway, let's go back to the topic. Another candidate could be Craig Wright. Maybe he was, but only within a group of several other people. And he did came out, and he's the only one, by the way, in all of this list. He is the only one who came out and actually said, oh, I am Satoshi Nakamoto. All the other people never claimed to be Satoshi Nakamoto, but he did. He claimed, oh, I'm Satoshi, and then he lost in court. Okay, this guy is Craig Wright. Craig Wright, saying he was Satoshi. Come on, like, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He cannot be Satoshi. And indeed, the judge, there was like a long court thing, and the judge said that he lied, and he created fake evidence. He had to pay like a 100 million fine or something. So yeah, nope, not him. Dorian Nakamoto, oh well, surely it's not him. There was like this mistaken guy. Maybe you saw this picture here, like of Dorian Nakamoto, who was just a poor Japanese engineer. Yes, he was like working in computer science stuff, but like no, he was not Satoshi Nakamoto. It's just mistaken. He was arrested and everything, and then no, of course he was not him. Let's move on. Len Sassaman, he is no longer with us, and he could kind of have been Satoshi. So this guy here is Len Sassaman. Look at him. Wow, what a nice beard. Anyway, he could have been, because like he developed something. Let's say, I'm gonna stay simple here. He kind of developed some cryptographic things that could align with Satoshi's vision and Satoshi's skills, and he died in July 2011. He died actually. So, but yeah, we don't really know. Maybe he was not him, because also like his wife Meredith Patterson then said something that make us think that probably it was not him. But it's, if you want to delve into the specifics of Len Sassaman, you can. It could be him, but he's gone. He's not longer with us. He's no longer with us. Adam Beck is British. A lot of people say Adam Beck is Satoshi because the white paper, Bitcoin white paper. If you don't know what the white paper is basically the article in which Bitcoin was firstly explained, right? You can see abstract from Satoshi Nakamoto, and introduction, and all the explanation of what Bitcoin wanted to be before it even it was even created. And in the references you have Dai and other people and Adam Beck. You see, you have Adam Beck in the references of the Bitcoin white paper. So some people say Adam Beck, this guy Adam Beck is Satoshi, also because he's British, and indeed not only he's quoted in the white paper, but the white paper is written in British English. So a lot of people says, oh, it's written in British English, it must be a British guy. I'm really not sure of that. Like, it takes what, 5 minutes to, let's say, like a few hours to redact a paper from American English to British English. So I don't think that's a definitive proof, but anyway, it could be Adam Beck. I don't really think so. He did invent Hashcash, which is kind of one of the main mechanisms that makes Bitcoin possible, but I don't think it's him. He's living in Malta, and nowadays he's supporting some things. He's supporting some things that are not, really liked by all Bitcoiners. But whatever, it could be him, but not alone. Then we have Wei Dai. This guy has a Chinese, I think it's Chinese, let me check it out, Chinese American. So he created a thing called B Money. So you could say, come on, he's one of them, right? Like he did something called B Money before Bitcoin. Then of course it just failed, nobody used it. But an anonymous electronic cash system, similar to Bitcoin. And he himself is, as you can see, he is the first reference of the Bitcoin white paper. So it could be that maybe he was one of those guys working together to make Bitcoin possible. Who knows? Or maybe not. Maybe he's not, because he was quoted in the references. So who knows? And then we have Dave Kleiman, and who knows? Like he's no longer with us, so could be. Maybe he wanted to say he was Satoshi, and yeah, like he was also involved in this Craig Wright thing, that, you know, faking evidence. Basically, there was a lawsuit between Craig Wright and the brother of this guy, Dave Kleiman, because he's done. He's no longer with us. So yeah. But no proof either. There is no proof that he was definitively Satoshi Nakamoto. Please try to check it out for yourself. But we don't know. We just know that in 2021, a jury entered a verdict in favor of Kleiman's estate and awarded him $100 million for damages. Huge. It is huge, because basically Craig Wright was saying he was Satoshi, but Kleiman's brother said, if you were Satoshi, then my brother that was working with you, he was also Satoshi. So basically it was all fake. Probably nobody of them was Satoshi. Maybe they were working in the team, but definitely not Satoshi themselves. And then we have Peter Todd. No, man, this guy, this is definitely not Satoshi. Definitely not Satoshi. Okay, like I'm gonna repeat the third time. Definitely not Satoshi. Canadian. He is a scammer, basically. Not a scammer. I mean, he's an actual Bitcoin developer. That's the scary part. He's actually trying to modify. He's actually trying to modify the Bitcoin code, but he's a bad actor. He's a bad person. He has not good intention in his mind. I'm gonna show you why just with this guy. This is Peter Todd, and this is it. Look at this. Just look at this. That's him, and that's him. So now you tell me if this guy is to be trusted as Satoshi. No, of course not. He's definitely not Satoshi. He is doing the Bitcoin developing in Bitcoin Core. So, but we all know that he's a bad actor. Don't listen what Peter Todd says, and yeah, you all know why. Like, I mean, just look at this thing in the middle. You can say whatever about this, but this one here in the middle, I don't know. Let's move on. Jack Dorsey. Oh, well. Jack Dorsey. I didn't even Google him. I think Jack Dorsey. It's former head of Twitter. Long before it was bought by Elon. Before. And he's going around, he's always going around with a T-shirt. Check it out. He's always going around with a T-shirt with Satoshi Nakamoto on it, and he is a very big Bitcoin fan. He's using Bitcoin. He's developing, for example, he developed a way to communicate on Bitcoin. He developed a way to use Bitcoin on the basically on the telephone network without the use of internet. And internet connection. So he's kind of a good guy. He's actually a good guy, but I don't know. I'm not sure he's actually Satoshi. There is no proof of that. And then the probability goes always. It's always less and less if we go down this path. And oops, these are already here. So we have like Paul Leroux, Paul Leroux, I cannot say that, but like Yeah, this guy has a crazy story. He was an informant to the DEA. He did all sorts of crazy stuff, like criminal cartel boss, but I don't know. People say that it was him because he was arrested right after Satoshi disappeared, but it's probably not him, to be honest. And then we have Elon Musk. Nope, it's definitely not him. He was busy doing other things. Gavin Andresen. I mean, Gavin Andresen was actually a Bitcoin developer, but no, he just developed Bitcoin in the early days. But no, he was not. He's definitely not Satoshi because he came out being like public about being Bitcoin developer. But no, it's not Gavin. And then we have a full list of other people. Oh, sorry. But let's just keep them all. Now, does it really matter who Satoshi is? Well, for curiosity it does, but it doesn't really matter. Why? Because the Bitcoin code, the software, is open source. It's open source software, which means that you can go and check it out for yourself. You can check it out for yourself on Bitcoin development. See the GitHub repository. Here you have all the Bitcoin code, and you can just open the code and check it out for yourself, and you will see that there is no backdoor. Okay, so now the thing is, there is a more complex story about how Bitcoin came to be, and I linked this video from the legend. Jack Kruse. It's a very long video, as you can see. He's a legend. He's just a legend. He's an actual doctor, a neurosurgeon that became a Bitcoiner and studied a lot of things, not just about neuroscience, not just about Bitcoin, but about the history of the last century. And what he's saying, it's not just what he's saying, because he brings evidence that there's all sorts of evidence to back his theory. It's not theory, it's just a story, it's just history. And the story is that starting in the early 900s, there were like mobs and secret evil networks like the Zionists, the Rothschilds, and then the CIA when it was created. And they had like a massive power structure that was based on like blackmail, trafficking, this word here that I cannot read this word. And then you had these other words, this other thing, and money laundering. So many people were involved in this network, but mostly these kind of people, the chosen people, and of course the Americans and the Italians. Actually, it was actually the Italian-American mob also working for these people and these people. Then the mob was out, but anyway, let's stick to the basic here. This was the main actor, Meyer Lansky. So Meyer Lansky is the main protagonist of the story that Dr.Jack is saying here.
None of them have any clue.
This guy here. Let me play it again.
Story. I'm gonna let him come closer. None of them have any clue.
So he thinks like, he exposed the whole story in this video. Okay, this video is 52 minutes long, and actually the original video is 3 hours long. But particularly talking about Satoshi and the whole Meyer Lansky story and the whole network story, secret society story. It's 52 minutes long. You can go and watch it out. But in short, this guy was the main protagonist of these kind of things, this blackmailing network and all these other things. Okay, and he was working for these people and these people, and these other people here, and then these other people here, and he was kind of working for this, working for that. Then he went to Israel to live and like stuff like that. At the end of the day, at the end of his career, according to the story, he kind of wants to rebel against the Rothschilds and the Zionists, and he wants to develop his own money network because he knows how money works. He knows how to move money around, how to launder money, and all of those things. And he knows how difficult it is to do it fast, do it efficiently, and without the permission of a banking system, and without backdoors. Because he himself had kind of a backdoor into the Rothschild banking accounting system. So anyway, he tries to develop like a digital, internet comes along, and he tries to develop a permissionless instant way of moving money. But he passes, so he's gone. The project goes on to another guy, it's passed to another guy, but then this other guy doesn't know really how to do it, so he has to hire another guy, and then eventually the thing goes open source. So from being like a secret project to develop like an evil money for criminals, it becomes an open source project. So the people grab it and start, developing on it. So this is the timeline that I shared in my first video that if you haven't watched yet, you should go and check. This is the timeline of, let's say, post-Meyer Lansky, people from all sorts of intentions and origins and nations, not just Americans and not just bad people, but all sorts of people, mathematicians, cryptographer, computer scientists. They start coming up with different solutions and different inventions, cryptographical inventions, and like computer science inventions. And here you can see you have Adam Beck, you remember? So Adam Beck, so could be, you have Adam Beck, and then you have Nick Szabo, 97, 98, you have Nick Szabo, this guy here that I told you about, this guy here, Nick Szabo, speaking, actually writing 2 papers. One was BitGold, right? Like he developed BitGold. So it could very well be that then he developed Bitcoin. And, before that, Adam Cash developed proof of work, which is the mechanism with which Bitcoin is working. And then you have Wei Dai. Wei Dai does B-money. So we have Nick Szabo making BitGold, Wei Dai making B-money, and Adam Beck doing proof of work. By the way, somebody says that no, he didn't invent proof of work, somebody did before him, so he just invented Hashcash, which is the application of proof of work to, I don't remember if email or something, so basically to counter denial of service attack. So to make a computer network safe to attack, he said, okay, let's use proof of work. So all these people, and then we have Hal Finney also, we didn't mention Hal Finney, another legend. So he's another legend of the Bitcoin space. He's gone, he's no longer with us, unfortunately, but yeah, he's a legend. He could also be either Satoshi or like, at least he was involved in the early project. You see, January 11, 2009, running Bitcoin. So he was like one of the first guys to actually run the Bitcoin software. So anyway, you can see it's a long story. Probably, it's starting as Dr. Jack Kruse says.
They close all.
As Dr. Jack Kruse says, it started in the early 90s. And there were bad things going on. Then these bad people wanted to do that, so they funded the project. But then the project got open source, And parallel to this, other people, like Adam Beck, Nick Szabo, Wei Dai, who were not working for those kind of people, they actually started developing on this kind of path, but freedom oriented, right? Freedom oriented. And then it became what we know today as Bitcoin. Yeah. So in other words, Bitcoin is the money of the people. Now, if you think all of this is just a conspiracy theory, all the Zionists and Rothschild are fake, and they're not existent, and they're not a threat, they're not involved. Well, explain me this. This just came out. 7 days ago? 8 days ago. Last week, basically, 2 weeks ago, and it says Epstein files shows the Swiss bank CEO, the Rothschild, kept years-long personal contact with Epstein. And here we have the direct email. That's the actual email from Jeffrey Epstein to Peter Thiel, founder of PayPal, by the way. If you are still using PayPal, if you still think PayPal is better than Bitcoin, think about this. This guy, Peter Thiel, was very friendly. Let me say this. Let me show you the face of Peter Thiel. This is Peter Thiel. Oops. This is Peter. Hey, Peter. He went so many times to the island, and he was talking all the time with Jeffrey. Jeffrey gave him a lot of money to invest in a lot of things, including PayPal. So PayPal, if you're still using PayPal, I don't need Bitcoin, I use PayPal. PayPal it's a scam. I mean, it works, but you pay fees, and or maybe you don't pay fees, but you need the authorization of PayPal, and it's all Jeffrey Epstein peoples, okay? And now you have here Jeffrey Epstein talking to Peter Thiel saying, oops, as you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. And basically here he's asking him, come to the island so we talk, good luck in China, I have the best clients. So, it's all real. There's nothing fake in this Rothschild Israeli Zionist thing, because, as you know, Epstein was involved in all of this. It was an Israeli operation, basically. We all know about that by now. If you think he was a Russian operation, I don't know. I don't think you came all the way to the end of this video, because you are not smart enough. If you think it was a Russian operation, it was clearly an Israeli operation. And so Epstein, it's Israeli, represents the Rothschilds, right? Which are again Jew Zionists who control the banks, all of the banks. Most of the banks are Rothschild controlled. So they are the people that are against what Bitcoin is today, right? And because they have their own banks. And indeed, if you go and check this whole video and you listen to the whole video, maybe you have to listen twice or 3 times because it's kind of complex. But anyway, go through the video, you realize that this guy, who was working for the Jewish mob, the Rothschilds and the Zionists, using the Italian mob to do some dirty jobs here and there, he eventually wanted to make a system that not even the Zionists and not even the Rothschild could use. He was a bad guy, don't get me wrong, he was a bad guy, but he wanted to do this. Then the thing became open source. Other people not related with this started developing Bitcoin. For example, I recommend again Nick Szabo. So you can, if you go into the Nick Szabo, and now you tell me, Nick Szabo is saying things like, racism is not a sin. He's mentioning Jesus, rape is a deeply mortal sin. Basically here he's talking against like all this woke thing, or he's talking against this Antifa people. He's talking against AIPAC, against Israel. So, you see, Nick Szabo, you know, Nick Szabo, where was he again? Nick Szabo, which is this guy here, okay, who contributed a lot. He actually invented like this timestamp, which is what makes Bitcoin possible, basically, what blockchain technology possible. He invented that, right? So Nick Szabo invented timestamp, at least as far as I know, or he worked on that, as well as Wei Dai and Adam Beck. But you can see, you know, actually three things from Nick Szabo. And Nick Szabo has this kind of ideas. He's against the Zionists, you see? He's posting all of these things against Zionists, against, you know, like the control of this elite, the control of this cabal. You see, Zionist. Go check his profile on X. Go check him, follow him, okay? You have to follow him to see all the posts, because otherwise some are hidden. But he is against the Zionists, right? So saying that, let's go back, saying that Epstein and the Rothschild and the CIA, they control Bitcoin, is ignorant, because Bitcoin is the creation of people like Nick Szabo and others that are exactly against that. Now, there are some bad actors inside this Bitcoin development space, and one of them is this guy, okay? But if you go online in the Bitcoin space, you'll see that he is not very much loved anymore, because people woke up to what kind of person he is. So I hope everything is clear. And you know, people say, oh, well, then if Bitcoin it really is what you're saying, if Bitcoin really is the solution against the Rothschild banking, the Zionist movement, the financial slavery system, why are we still subject to the system? Well, because you're still using your bank, you're still using JP Morgan, you're still using Intesa Sanpaolo, you're still using traditional banks, Allianz Bank, you know, whatever you have, Fineco or whatever bank you are using, is still part of these people here, right? So Bitcoin has not saved us yet from the current corrupt system, because everybody needs to adopt it and stop using fiat. Only by then, these kind of people, you know, Mr. Jeffrey, will stop having power over us. So please consider using it. And thanks for educating yourself. For another day, much love. See you in the next one. Remember, leave a like, comment, subscribe, share. Bye bye.